The study documents and processes were approved by Kantar's External Independent Ethics Committee and in compliance with industry guidelines and GEP. In terms of who took part in this study, we recruited 2,133 participants. The breakdown of each country is on the screen now. And we aim to recruit daily users in Sweden and relax the criteria for the remaining countries to prevent recruitment issues. The participant disposition is on the screen here. I won't go through everything, but I just wanted to note that in terms of gender, it was quite well balanced. However, in Switzerland, we had around 75% males. Also, the most prevalent age group was 35 to 54-year-olds. There's a lot of numbers, so I'll leave that on the screen for a second. Okay, now on to the interesting bit, the findings. In terms of time with category, majority of ONP users stated that they used the product for 1 to 5 years. However, in Sweden, a considerable proportion of users reported use for 6 to 10 years. This is unsurprising given the familiarity with the product category in the market. In terms of consumption and frequency, as you might have seen in an earlier slide, in the UK, the daily versus weekly ratios were quite well balanced. However, in the remaining countries, most participants used the ONPs on a daily basis. In terms of average daily consumption, this ranged from 5 to 10 pouches a day. Again, in Sweden, we saw higher consumption in terms of daily usage. And again, with weekly consumption, unsurprisingly, in Sweden, consumption was higher also. Now looking at mouth hold time, on average, most countries, so the UK, Denmark, and Switzerland, people were using these products between 5 to 30 minutes. However, in Sweden, and you might be seeing a trend developing here, people are using the products slightly higher to 30 to 45 minutes, and in some rare cases, up to an hour. Looking at nicotine strengths, on average, most users in all countries use 6 to 10 milligram, and in the UK, a considerable amount used between 11 to 15 mg. Some usage in the higher nicotine strengths were also observed. Looking at user type now, so whether they were solace or exclusive users, meaning using only ONPs, or dual users, or poly users, meaning 3 or more products, you can see that dual and poly use was high across all countries. And among dual use, cigarettes had the highest prevalence in Denmark, Switzerland, and the UK. While in Sweden, using brown and white tobacco pouches was quite common. And finally, now looking at some flavor preferences and perceptions of use, menthol was most often selected across all countries. Most believed that non-combustible tobacco nicotine products were less harmful than cigarettes. And finally, the top 3 reasons for use was it being less harmful to both themselves, also people around them compared to cigarette smoking, and also being able to use the pouches where cigarette smoking was not allowed. So for example, aeroplanes and at work. In conclusion, I think this study was able to collect some robust data on usage consumption. Examples of those are mouth hold time was 2 to 3 times longer in Sweden than other countries, reflecting the familiarity with snus. Most users opted for nicotine strengths in the mid-range. Majority favored the mint and menthol flavors. And perception of risk showed that most participants understand that although there are some risks associated with alternative nicotine products and tobacco products, they are less harmful than cigarette smoking. We aim to report the 6 months follow-up results, which will collect data on use trajectory and inform population. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues at BAT, Sena and Visa, and Kantar Denmark. Thank you for listening. I welcome any comments or questions.